I noticed my sister's sneaky looks and whispered comments whenever I shared my good news. It felt like she was a shadow, hiding behind my happiness, always ready to pounce. At first, I brushed it off as nothing, but deep down, I felt something was off. When she finally admitted her jealousy, I was shocked. It was a strange mix of sadness and anger. I couldn't believe she had been telling lies about me, twisting my words and making me look bad. I knew I had to stand up for myself, so I exposed the truth. It felt like a heavy weight was lifted, but the impact was tough. I had to think about what was best for me, even if it meant stepping away from her. Even though my relationship with Lila felt off, I couldn't shake the memories of our happy times as sisters. We used to be great friends, always laughing and dreaming together. But things changed as we grew older. I started to feel a strange competition between us, like we were both trying to be the best. Lila was always looking at me, sizing herself up against my wins. Then I began dating Jake, and everything flipped upside down. What should have been a happy time turned into a war zone. I could see the jealousy sparking in Lila's eyes, turning our sisterly bond into something ugly. I never thought a boyfriend could cause such a split. It felt like she was betraying me. Our promise to support each other faded as her jealousy took over. As Lila grew more angry, the gap between us widened. It tore at my heart to think I was losing not just my sister, but also my best friend. Watching her arrange things to hurt me was heartbreaking. I wanted to reach out, to pull her back. But every time I tried, she pushed me away harder. "Why can't you just be happy for me?" I shouted one day, anger boiling over. "Happy? You mean happy watching you steal everything from me?" Lila shot back, her voice cold. As I sat on the porch with Lila, the air felt thick. I could no longer pretend everything was fine. We were sisters, but lately, it felt like we were enemies. I'd thought we shared everything, but jealousy had snuck in, turning Lila into someone I barely recognized. "Why did you say those things about me?" I asked, my voice calm but my heart was racing. Lila looked away, and her quiet was deafening. "You've been twisting stories, trying to make me look bad," I pressed. "I thought you were proud of me, but it feels like you want to ruin me instead." Finally, her eyes met mine, and I could see the truth hiding there. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I just felt small next to you," she whispered. "I thought if I made you look bad, maybe I'd feel better." Her words hit me hard, like a punch to the gut. Betrayal coursed through me. This wasn't just jealousy. It was something darker, manipulation covered in a desperate cry for help. I knew I'd to protect myself. "If you want to fix this, you need to stop. I can't play your games anymore." I stood up, leaving her alone with her mess. I couldn't carry her responsibilities any longer. The moment I found out Lila betrayed me, it hit me like a punch in the gut. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I always thought my sister loved me, but now I saw the truth. She'd been spreading lies about me, and I felt a fire of anger erupt inside me. How could she do this? This wasn't just sibling rivalry. It was a full-on attack on our bond. I marched up to her, my heart beating. "Did you really say all those things?" I asked. She just sat there, her eyes wide, acting she didn't know what I was talking about. Inside, I was screaming. I'd shared my hopes with her, trusted her with my secrets, and she twisted everything into something ugly. I felt so deceived. How could I have been fooled by someone who should have had my back? All those moments of laughter now felt like a lie. I knew she wanted to ruin my happiness because she couldn't stand that I was happy. With a sad heart, I knew I'd to do something. "I won't let you hurt me anymore," I said, my voice steady. I'd to reveal her lies and take back my truth. No more mental games. It was time to protect myself, even if it meant facing the hard truth about my sister. I was done being her pawn. It was time to stand strong and let her deal with the mess she'd made. Confronting Lila was like stepping into a war zone. I stood at her door, heart racing, ready to face the mess she'd created between us. Our sibling tie had changed, and it was time to bring everything out into the open. "Lila, we need to talk," I said strongly, trying to keep my voice steady. I wanted to know why she was jealous and why she told lies about me. I couldn't keep pretending her acts didn't hurt me. It felt heavy, like a weight on my chest. We sat down, and I hit her with the truth. "You've hurt me. You tried to ruin my happiness, and it's tearing us apart." I watched as her expression changed, the anger fading to something softer. Maybe this was a chance for honesty. "I thought I was losing you," she yelled, tears in her eyes. That caught me off guard. Underneath her envy, there was fear. "You could have talked to me, Lila," I said, feeling a pang of sadness. "But you chose to lie." As I tried to move forward, Lila's lies felt like a huge weight on my chest. Every day dragged on, harder than the last. I never thought our sisterly rivalry would turn into this awful mess, filled with lies and blame. "Dude, what's going on with you?" my friend Mia asked. Her brow furrowed with worry. "It's Lila," I snapped. "She's spreading rumors that make me look like a total jerk." Trust issues filled my mind like a tidal wave. I started questioning everything: my friends, my worth, even Jake, who was always there for me. The lies didn't just hurt me, they hurt everyone. My family felt different, like we were all walking on eggshells. Avoiding Lila felt like the only way to deal, but it didn't work. "Why can't we just talk about this?" I yelled one night, addressing Lila. "You're ruining everything." Her eyes narrowed. "I'm just protecting myself. You wouldn't understand." But I did understand. I wanted to break free from her dark shadow. I needed to face her, to fight for my trust and my relationships. "I'm done being quiet," I announced, my heart racing. "I won't let you manipulate me anymore." Lila's smile faded, and for a moment, I saw fear in her eyes. Trust was disappearing fast. Whispers spread like wildfire through my friend group, and I could feel the space between us growing. Friends who used to stand by me were now pulling away, their eyes filled with doubt. It felt like my support system was collapsing, one friend at a time. "Did you really do that?" Sarah asked, her voice shaky. I could see the worry written on her face. "I didn't betray anyone," I yelled, but it felt like my words were swallowed by the growing distance. The laughter we once shared was replaced by awkward silences. I caught snippets of conversation stock of my claimed betrayal. Each word stung, proving my fears. Lila's jealousy was spreading like poison, and I was stuck in the middle. Every time I reached out, I was met with cold shoulders. "Why should we believe you?" Jake snapped when I tried to explain. Their quick judgment felt like blades in my heart. I was drowning in loneliness, trying to stay afloat in a sea of betrayal. Even my best friends were torn. "I don't know who to trust anymore," Mia admitted, looking between me and the others. I felt desperate, longing for the link we used to have. "Please, just listen to my side," I begged, but they turned away, unwilling to see the truth. I wanted to scream the truth, to make them see what was really happening. But it was too late. Amid the chaos of my falling apart friendships, Jake stepped in like a rescuer. He could see my pain, and he didn't turn away. While others disappeared, Jake stood strong, like a lifeline thrown into rough waters. I could spill my heart to him about Lila's deception, my swirling fears, and the confusion that wrapped around me like a thick fog. His presence was a calm in the storm. Whenever I felt like I was drowning, Jake was there to tell me of my strength. "You deserve to be happy, Mia," he said, his voice steady and comforting. He made me understand that feeling my emotions was important, not just hiding them away. I began to see how crucial it was to be tough during this messy time. And with Jake beside me, it felt easier to sort through my thoughts. I could vent my frustrations without thinking about judgment. That changed everything. He listened closely, giving help when I needed it but never pushing me to decide too fast. His patience showed me that I didn't have to rush into working out what to do about Lila. With Jake, I felt understood and encouraged, even when everything else was upside down. He believed in me, and that sparked my faith. I started to remember the girl I was before all the drama. Jake became my anchor, a reminder that I wasn't alone in this fight. I could see a dim light ahead, and for the first time in ages, I felt a glimmer of hope. But the shadows of betrayal still loomed. Just when I thought I was safe, the past crept back. Lila tried to pull me back in with sweet words and fake promises. "Mia, I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, her eyes wide and innocent. But I could see the manipulation lying beneath her surface. I felt torn. The pull of poisonous love was strong, but Jake's steady presence reminded me of my worth. "Don't let her back in," he warned, his grip on my shoulder firm. "You've come too far." His words echoed in my mind as I faced Lila again, heart rushing. I had to choose stay in the dark or step into the light with Jake. As I sat across from Jake on our dinner date, I felt a storm building inside me. This wasn't the fun night I'd hoped for. It felt heavy and tense. I thought inviting him over would help me forget my problems. But my heart raced with dread instead. "Everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. Jake stared at me, his face serious. He paused, and my stomach dropped. I knew something was off. This was a moment that could change everything. He took a deep breath. "Lila's been texting me." My heart sank. I felt like I'd been hit in the gut. "She's trying to make me believe you're the villain in our story," he said. Cold anger rushed through me. How could she betray me like this? My own sister was trying to ruin my happiness. "Why would she do that?" I demanded, my voice shaky. "Because she's jealous, Mia. She wants you to be alone," he answered, worry etched on his face. In that moment, it hit me hard. Lila's jealousy wasn't just about boys, it was about power. I felt a mix of rage and sadness, but I couldn't back down. I had to fight for my happiness. I couldn't believe Lila had turned against me. My sister, my best friend, was now the one spreading lies and twisting the truth. It felt like the ground dropped from under my feet. "Why are you doing this?" I shouted at her, anger boiling inside me. She looked at me with those big, innocent eyes. "You pushed me away," she said, her voice dripping with fake sadness. I knew she was lying. It was her jealousy that made her act like this. Instead of cheering me on, she wanted to pull me down. Every time I thought she might tell the truth, she just spun more lies. "You're just making things worse for yourself," I said, feeling the hurt wash over me. "Stop playing the victim." Lila shrugged, grinning. "I'm just showing everyone who you really are." My heart dropped. Friends I thought I could trust were now looking at me with doubt. She was winning, and it made me angry. I took a deep breath. "I won't let you do this to me anymore." I had to stand up and face her lies head on. I felt a spark of strength. "I'm not afraid of you." With that, I turned away, ready to fight back. I couldn't let her darkness swallow me whole. What made Lila betray me like this? Our sibling feud had turned into something much worse. I could see it clearly. She was jealous of my achievements and the people I had. Especially Jake. Her jealousy wasn't just about me. It came from her own fears and doubts. I could feel the distance growing between us, and instead of talking about it, she decided to lie. With every lie she kept, trust slipped away. Instead of facing her feelings, she tried to tear me down, thinking it would make her feel better. "Why can't you just be happy for me?" I shouted one day, anger bubbling over. She just looked away, avoiding my eyes. It hurt that she couldn't see how her deeds were breaking us apart. I had to draw a line to keep myself safe from her games. Even though I felt angry, a part of me was sad for her. She didn't have the tools to cope with her thoughts. Our relationship was changing fast, and I wished she'd just share her fears instead of betraying me. I knew her anger and fear were driving her, but I couldn't let that control our bond. I had to put myself first. Even if it hurt. I chose to confront her. "Lila, I know what you did," I said, my voice steady. She flinched, caught off guard. I laid everything bare, uncovering her lies. "You need to face what you've done," I told her. I wouldn't let her control me anymore. It was time for her to see the fallout of her decisions. The moment Lila started spreading lies about me, everything changed. Our family, once strong, turned into a battlefield. I felt the ground shake as her jealousy turned into a weapon. She twisted our friends' thoughts, building a wall between us. I was shocked. How could she do this? As the lies spread, I found myself stuck in her web. No longer just Mia, her sister. I'd become her target. Lila craved recognition and would do anything to get it, even if it meant hurting me. I heard whispers in the halls, and the judgment felt heavy. Every day was a fight to tell my side of the story. I approached Lila, desperate for answers. "Why are you doing this?" I asked, my voice shaking. Instead of standing up, she played the victim. "You're making this up," she yelled, twisting my words. I had to stay strong. I couldn't let her win. Not like this. This wasn't just about jealousy, it was a fight for control. I knew I had to show her lies to escape her grip. It was tiring, but I needed to fight for my truth and defend myself from the toxic mess she created. Enough. I yelled one day, gathering my strength. I won't let you do this anymore. My heart raced as I faced her, determined. I felt like I was in the middle of a wild storm, waves of anger and hurt smashing against my heart. I never thought my sister Lila could stab me in the back like this. It was like a knife twisting in my gut. How could someone I loved so much lie and spread such nasty rumors? Why would you do this, Lila? I shouted, my voice rising. You know how much I care about you. She just shrugged, a smirk on her face. Maybe you should have thought about that before you took what was mine. Frustration bubbled up inside me. I wanted to scream, to make her see how her jealousy was tearing us apart. I had to stay strong. I couldn't let her messy situation drag me down. I just wanted us to be happy, I said, despair creeping into my voice. Why can't you just be proud of me? Lila's eyes narrowed, and I felt a chill run down my spine. Happy? You think I'm happy when you steal the spotlight? It hurt, but I couldn't let her ruin our relationship. I needed to protect myself. I won't let your jealousy control me, I declared, feeling a surge of determination. I took a deep breath and set my limits. I'm done with this. I care about you, but I need to prioritize myself now. I don't need your pity. She shot back, her words like daggers. Despite the anger, sadness washed over me. Lila was my sister, and I wanted her to find joy. But with every lie she spun, a wall went up between us. I had to fight for my happiness, even if it meant standing alone in this storm. As the days passed, the stress grew thicker. I focused on my own goals. You can't keep using me as a stepping stone. I told her one afternoon, my voice steady. I'm not going to live in your shadow. Lila laughed, but it was empty. You think you can just walk away from this? I won't let you. As I tried to move on, images of our childhood rushed back. Lila and I weren't just sisters, we were best friends. But the more I thought about it, the more I saw how sibling competition twisted that bond. I remembered the silly fights over the last cookie or who was the star act. Those moments were light and fun, full of laughs. But then jealousy crept in, changing our friendship into something ugly. One day, Lila's deception hit me hard. It felt like a punch to the gut. I was angry and sad, trying to understand why she'd do that. I wanted to think it was just a phase, that we could fix things. But as I looked back, I realized her jealousy ran deeper than I thought. It was tough to face the fact that someone I loved could feel such anger. I knew I had to toughen up. I started focusing on myself, hanging out with people who made me happy. I learned to shake off the guilt for being successful while Lila struggled. It wasn't my fault she felt small next to me. I had to accept that our bond had changed, and maybe that was okay. As I kept thinking, I found strength in my journey. I was ready to face the truth about our relationship, even if it hurt. I took a deep breath. Lila, I said one day, we need to talk. She looked at me, her eyes narrowing. What now? This jealousy between us has to stop, I stated. Her face changed, a mix of anger and surprise. You think it's that easy? No, but we can't keep acting. It's tearing us apart. Silence hung in the air, thick with stress. I felt my heart race. Fine, Lila said, crossing her arms. But don't expect me to just forget everything. Neither can I answered, my voice steady. But we need to decide if we're going to fix this or let it break us. I was determined to fix things with Lila, so I drove over to our parents' house. My heart raced as I thought about how our sisterly rivalry had turned ugly. Her jealousy felt like a dark shadow over us, and it was time to face her. When Lila opened the door, surprise lit up her face. I felt a mix of anger and sadness bubbling inside me. We need to talk, I said, my voice strong. We plopped down on the porch, the evening sun stretching shades around us. You've hurt me, Lila. Your hatred and lies have broken us apart. Why did you try to manipulate everyone? Her face changed. For the first time, I saw a hint of weakness. I felt invisible next to you. She admitted, tears pooling in her eyes. I thought if I made you look bad, I'd finally get some attention. I felt like she'd stabbed me in the back. But you chose to lie instead of being honest. You could have talked to me. My words rang in the air, heavy with the truth. I knew now that her actions came from her own insecurities. But that didn't make it right. Understanding Lila's fears changed everything for me. I thought we were tight, But her jealousy showed me a different side. It stung to find out she felt left behind, like a shadow in my focus. I never wanted that for her, but it opened my eyes. I had to think back on our past and my role in it. I began to look at myself too. I was so caught up in my own excitement that I missed Lila's challenges. I could see how her fears twisted into jealousy, turning our sisterly bond into a war zone. I knew we both needed to face these problems head-on if we wanted to save our relationship. One day, as we talked, I felt sadness twist with anger. "Why didn't you just tell me?" I asked. Betrayal hung in the air, thick and heavy. I understood I needed to protect myself, to set boundaries. It hurt, but I knew her feelings came from fear and contrast. I couldn't change her thoughts, but I could control my responses. This whole mess taught me a hard lesson. Insecurities can poison love if you let them grow. We all have our problems, but we've to talk about them. I wanted Lila to face her feelings, to ask for help, and to fight her demons, just like I was trying to do. "Let's face this together," I said, hoping she'd hear me. I wanted her to see that we could beat this darkness. In the middle of all the chaos, I realized we were in deep trouble. Lila's envy was a storm, and I was lost in a sea of confusion. Accusations flew like spears, and lies tangled around us. I knew we needed to really talk if we were going to make it through. I wanted to know what was going on inside her head, but I also had a lot to say about how hurt I felt. When Lila finally opened up, it hit me hard. Her fears were like shadows creeping between us. If she'd just been honest from the beginning, we might have dodged the disaster. But quiet and sneaky tricks only pushed us further apart. I learned that hiding feelings only leads to big, ugly fights. So, I took a deep breath and approached her. "Lila, we need to talk. Your actions hurt me, and I can't keep acting everything's fine," I said, my voice steady but urgent. I wanted the truth to come out. It was scary, but we'd to face it together. I told her that if we wanted to fix this, we'd to talk freely. Setting limits felt like standing on a tightrope, but I knew I had to do it for my own sake and for the future of my relationship with Lila. Without clear limits, I was drowning in her jealousy and manipulation. I had to protect myself, even if it hurt her feelings. "Listen, Lila," I said, my voice steady. "No more lies, no more games. Your jealousy is pulling us apart, and I need space to breathe." She looked at me, eyes wide with surprise. "But I love you. Why can't you see that?" "Love shouldn't feel like this," I answered, my heart racing. "I won't let your emotions control my life." Setting limits became my armor. I couldn't let her pull me down into her darkness anymore. I wanted her to understand that her actions had effects, that I wasn't just going to sit back and take it. "I need you to think about how your actions affect our family and friends," I added, feeling a mix of strength and fear. What if she lashed out? What if this was the end? "I can change," she begged, desperation in her voice. "Change starts with honesty," I shot back. "I'm reclaiming my happiness, even if it means stepping away from us." Her face twisted in anger and sadness. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said, my heart racing. "But I can't live like this anymore." As I walked away, I felt a rush of relief mixed with sadness. I'd set my limits, but the future felt uncertain. Setting those limits was just the start. The aftermath of truth hit me hard. I thought telling everyone about Lila's lies would feel good, but it just made me feel alone. After our big fight, everything turned upside down. Friends I thought I could trust started pulling away, caught in the mess of our sister drama. I felt like I was facing a battle all by myself. In the middle of the chaos, I knew I had to toughen up. I couldn't let Lila's jealousy steal my happiness. Instead of feeling sad for myself, I put my energy into my relationship with Jake. He was there for me, saying, "You're not defined by what your sister does." But I still felt that sting of betrayal in the air, like a ghost that wouldn't leave. Every quiet word and sneaky glance from our friends felt like a reminder of Lila's lies, making me feel even lonelier. I missed the sister I used to know, but the truth showed me who she really was. It made me see that her jealousy came from her own feelings of not being good enough, and that hurt. Weeks went by, but the weight on my heart didn't get any lighter. It felt like I was walking a tightrope between being mad and being sad. I had to stand strong against the mess Lila made. I knew healing wouldn't happen quickly, But I was determined to come out on top, refusing to let her jealousy win. Then came the day when everything changed. I found Lila talking to Jake, her eyes full of something I didn't like. "What are you doing with him?" I snapped, my heart racing. Lila grinned. "Oh, just sharing a few secrets." My stomach dropped. I could feel treachery creeping in again. "Stay away from him," I shouted, feeling the anger boil over. Jake looked between us, confusion in his eyes. "What's going on?" "Just the truth," Lila said, her voice thick with sarcasm. I took a deep breath, ready to fight for everything I'd left. As I stood at the brink of our broken relationship, I knew I had to do more than just talk. I needed a real plan. Rebuilding trust wasn't going to be easy, but I was ready to fight for it. First, I had to understand our feelings, mine and Lila's. We needed to face our feelings head on. "Let's be honest with each other," I said, my voice steady. "No more hiding." We kicked off trust exercises that seemed easy but were powerful. "Let's share our thoughts and really listen," I proposed. It was time to break down the walls. We put new contact rules in place. "Jealousy has to go," I stated. "We can't let old doubts destroy us anymore." My heart raced with fear. What if we couldn't fix this? Healing takes time, but I told myself to be patient. We practiced resolving disagreements, learning to disagree without hurting each other. Slowly, I felt the weight lift a little. But it was a tricky road. I reached out to my sister and friends, sharing my challenges. They pushed me to keep pushing forward. To bring us closer, I planned fun activities. We laughed, shared old stories, and started to rebuild the trust that felt so far away. "It's not just given, it's earned," I told myself. With each small win, I felt a flicker of hope. This journey wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in a long while, I felt a spark of hope about our future together. "Can we really make it through this?" Lila asked one night, her eyes searching mine. I took a deep breath. "We have to try. I believe we can." Rebuilding trust with Lila was like walking on a wire. One bad move, and I could fall. Sibling relationships are tricky, full of love and competition. When Lila told me she was jealous, I thought we could fix it, but her actions said otherwise. I couldn't believe it when I heard she lied about me. Betrayal cut deep. "How could you?" I shouted, my heart racing. Our bond felt broken. Jealousy can change love into something ugly. I had to be careful about who I let close. Things got bad with Jake too. Lila's jealousy didn't just hurt us, it dragged him into the chaos. "You need to talk to her," he said, worry in his eyes. I knew he was right. I needed to set clear limits and speak up. Every time Lila acted out, I told myself, I wouldn't let her insecurities ruin my happiness. "I'm not your punching bag," I yelled one day, anger boiling over. I had to protect myself and the people I cared about. Honesty was key, but it was hard. Facing these thoughts head-on felt like a battle. I refused to let jealousy or lies rule my life. "We need to sort this out," I told Lila, resolve in my voice. No more hiding. I wanted understanding, even if it was tough. Healing from betrayal isn't just about fixing broken trust, it's about finding my power again. When Lila deceived me, it felt like my world fell apart. Sisters are supposed to love each other no matter what, but instead, I got jealousy and lies. I knew I had to start a trip to find myself again. And it wasn't going to be easy. I had to be honest about how I felt. "Why would you do this to me?" I yelled as tears ran down my face. I felt very angry. I felt sad all the time, like a heavy blanket. I need to tell myself, I deserve better than this. So, I took action. I called my real friends, the ones who really cared. "Help me," I asked. As they listened, I slowly felt a spark of power grow inside me. I grabbed my book and wrote down everything: my hurt, my anger, my confusion. I used every word to make my pain stronger. Betrayal didn't define me. It showed me where my limits were. Days passed, and I started to heal. I realized Lila's behaviors were about her, not me. "She's just insecure," I mumbled to myself, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. I began to trust again, but this time, I focused on trusting myself. I chose who belonged in my life. "I won't let this break me," I told my image in the mirror. Each morning, I grew stronger. I learned to forgive Lila, not for her sake, but for mine. "I'm ready to move on," I announced, embracing the lessons this betrayal taught me. Healing turned into a journey of self-love, reminding me that I'm worthy of real bonds. The moment Lila betrayed me, everything changed. I felt like I'd been hit in the gut. It hurt. A lot. She spun lies that cut deep, and I couldn't believe my own sister would turn on me. Friends I thought I could trust started to believe her. Every day, whispers followed me like shadows, and I feared seeing anyone I once called a friend. "I can't believe you'd do this," I shouted during our last fight, anger mixing with amazement. "Why would you lie?" "Because it's easier than telling the truth," she shot back, her eyes cold as ice. I knew I'd to find my strength. I couldn't let her acts define who I was. I focused on my boyfriend Jake and the things I love, drawing and hanging out with my real friends. But Lila's deception stuck with me like gum on my shoe. I doubted myself. Had I done something to drive her away? One night, I replayed our last discussion over and over. "What happened to us, Lila?" I whispered to the empty room. I felt lost, like a ship without a sail, tossed in a storm of confusion and hurt. I missed the sister who laughed with me, the one I could trust. But I couldn't let her jealousy win. I stood tall, unwilling to let it consume me. "I won't be broken by your lies," I vowed, clenching my hands. It was a tough fight, but I was determined to find my peace again, even if it took forever. As I dealt with the mess after Lila's betrayal, I started to understand something important. Hard moments can teach us lessons. This whole situation showed me how deep sibling rivalry can go and made me face trust problems I'd ignored for too long. I understood that I needed to understand my feelings and Lila's too. Instead of talking about her anger, she just snapped at me. I should have been better at sharing my own thoughts. This was a tough time, but it pushed me to think on myself. I knew I'd to set limits. I couldn't let her behaviors control my happiness or how I saw myself. This trip was about growing, not just for me, but for Lila too. I saw that our relationship had changed, and we both needed to heal. I also found ways to deal with my emotions. I leaned on friends like Jake, who reminded me of my worth. I practiced talking freely with people I trusted, learning to express my feelings without fear. This experience made me more aware of how I responded, helping me respond better in tough situations. As I tried to pick up the pieces after Lila's betrayal, I understood that moving forward meant accepting change and letting go of the past. Our sister bond had broken, and it hurt like crazy. But I wouldn't let her lies control me. I focused on one thing: my strength. I surrounded myself with friends who'd my back. No more drama freaks. I needed to feel good about myself again, after Lila tried to tear me down. Each day, I took tiny steps to heal, telling myself that I was tougher than I ever knew. "Hey, want to hang out?" Jake texted one day. His easy message lit up my phone, and I felt a spark of hope. We spent time together, laughing and talking. His support helped me trust again, something I thought was lost forever. I learned to speak up about my feelings, refusing to let jealousy or fear mess up my relationships again. "Lila's not worth it," I told Jake one evening, my voice steady. "I won't let her jealousy steal my happiness." Moving forward, I knew that forgiveness wasn't about forgetting. It was about facing the pain and getting back control. I was done with the manipulation and greed that had poisoned my life. I was ready to build a future filled with real people and genuine love, far away from Lila's toxic grip. With each passing day, I accepted my new path. I was ready to leave the sadness behind and step into a brighter tomorrow, stronger and wiser than ever. Forgiveness was like a key that opened my healing after Lila's betrayal. It was tough. Our family bond had changed overnight. I learned that forgiving doesn't mean I forget what she did. It means I'm freeing myself from the heavy chains of anger and hurt. As I worked through my feelings, I realized I'd to dig deep. Betrayal hurts, and it takes strength to bounce back. I wanted to fix our relationship, but trust doesn't rebuild itself quickly. I'd to set limits. I could still care for Lila, but I'd to guard my heart too. While I wrestled with my emotions, I found I was growing. I felt my pain, but I refused to let it hold me down. Forgiveness wasn't just for Lila. I needed to forgive myself too. I'd to let go of the anger that threatened to swallow me whole. Dealing with disagreements isn't easy, especially with someone you love. Still, I found power in forgiving Lila. I realized her jealousy came from her own fears. Once I saw that, I couldn't only forgive her but also start to heal our tie. After Lila misled me, I felt like my whole world flipped upside down. I was lost and scared, but I knew I'd to fight to get my confidence back. Every day, I told myself I was strong and worthy of happiness, no matter what Lila did. It was hard work. Doubts snuck in, but I pushed them away. I focused on my friends who stuck by me and my growing relationship with Jake, which felt like a bright light in the darkness. I set small goals to build my confidence. I spoke up in class, tried new things, and each little win felt huge. I celebrated every success, even the tiny ones, to drown out the whispers of doubt that Lila had planted in my thoughts. Journaling became my secret tool. I poured my thoughts onto the page, sorting through the chaos in my head. I learned my feelings mattered, and I could be strong despite the hurt Lila caused. Through this process, I learned that self-worth is about more than just feeling good. It's about knowing I deserve respect and love. No one, not even my sister, would take that away from me again. I wrapped my discovered self-worth around me like armor and prepared to move forward. Lila, you can't control me anymore, I stated, standing tall. I know my worth now. I was on a mission to rebuild my self-worth, and I knew that accepting independence was key to my healing. For too long, I'd been tied to Lila, constantly chasing her praise. But after her deception, I'd to break free. I needed to find my own strength. I started making choices for myself. No more for Lila, I declared one day. I surrounded myself with friends who actually cared about me. I dove into things I loved, like drawing and hiking. Each moment I spent alone felt like a step forward, helping me find who I really was. Hey, Mia, want to join us for a hike? My friend Sarah asked one afternoon. Absolutely, let's go, I answered, feeling excitement bubble inside me. Trusting myself again was tough. I learned to make choices based on what felt right for me. I didn't need Lila for happiness. I could make my own path. With every choice, I felt lighter and stronger. Why didn't you call me? I thought we were doing things together. Lila's voice rang in my mind. I shook it off. I was Mia, not just Lila's shadow. I could see my worth. Embracing freedom felt like breaking chains, even if it hurt sometimes. The anger and sadness were there, but hope was greater. You'll regret this, Lila had yelled in our last fight. Not anymore, I shouted back, standing taller than I ever had. As I think about my sister Lila, I can't shake off the feeling that our relationship is like a tangled web. We laughed together, shared secrets, and felt like we could take the world. But then, jealousy slithered in, and everything got messy. Why do you have to be better at everything? Lila snapped one night, her eyes burning. It hurt. I'd always thought we were a team. Her struggles began to change her. Friends turned into pawns in her game, and I became one too. One day, I found out she was spreading lies about me. You're just jealous, she said, smiling. My heart sank. How could she twist my love into something dark? I felt trapped, torn between wanting to help her and having to protect myself. Lila, we need to talk, I shouted one afternoon, my anger boiling over. You can't keep lying to everyone. Why do you care? She shot back, her voice cold. You think you're so much better than me. That moment was a wake-up call. I understood we weren't just sisters anymore. We were rivals in a battle I didn't even want to fight. I wanted to help her, but her deceit was like poison, spreading through our bond. Trust is everything, I told her one evening, sitting on her bed, my heart pounding. If we don't fix this, we'll lose each other for good. She looked away, her silence heavy with doubt. I knew I'd to push through the darkness. We can't say everything is fine when it's not. Let's be honest. That night, I learned that sisterhood isn't just about giggles and shared hopes. It's about facing the weather together, even when the winds are fierce. I want Lila to be my sister again, not my enemy. But restoring trust means we both have to put in the work. Can we start over? I asked, my voice shaking as I reached for her hand. I don't want to lose you. She looked at me, her eyes softening. I don't want to lose you either, she whispered. Maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other stronger and ready to fight for our sisterly love.